I was intrigued when these battery-operated vacuums came out. As a contractor on several jobs, I can look back and think of many times where a battery-operated vacuum would have been particularly convenient. I am a DeWalt guy. All the big tools I have are DeWalt. I have a little bit of Rigid, but by and large, it's all DeWalt. When reading the various reviews, however, this Milwaukee vacuum, it's 0880-20, seemed to be the one that people recommended. At the suggestion for somebody that I saw in a video, was to get the Milwaukee vacuum, which here it is, and to get an adapter for a DeWalt battery, which I have here, and to put that in. Unfortunately, it doesn't work. And I spent some time troubleshooting. Obviously the battery is good. And I tested the voltage. You get more or less 20 volts on the outer pins. And you get the same voltage coming through to these pins. So it's not this and it's not this. Got out a larger battery, and the good news is it fits. However, it still doesn't work. But I discovered if you push down on it, it does work. So the issue I have in the geometry of this assembly is that the front of this battery sits too low and is bottoming out on the cavity. So I have three options. I can try to modify the vacuum to have a deeper cavity there, which is something I'm not inclined to do, because if this, for whatever reason, doesn't suit my needs, I want to be able to return it. And the second option might be to see if I can modify this adapter. I have to find a way to have this part of the adapter hang lower so that this half of the adapter sits a little higher. And since this wasn't terribly expensive, that might actually be something I'm inclined to try to do. And my third option was I could try to see if there's a different brand, similar adapter out there. Maybe it's a slightly different geometry. I don't need a lot of room, and I'm going to explore that option as well. First impressions for those of you that are interested. This is not a very large unit, but it's relatively heavy for its size. Most of it, of course, is the weight of the motor. Here it is compared to a basketball, and compared to the Rigid vacuum. This guy's corded, obviously. With the Rigid vacuum, I use a filter and a bag. And I do that for a couple of reasons. One of them is if for whatever reason the bag fills up and I don't have a replacement, at least I have the filter to rely on. But primarily it's just so much easier to replace a bag than to empty out a canister that's filled with dust and debris. There's onboard storage for the hose, that tool, and the crevice tool, which I think is particularly convenient. And on the inside, you just have the pleated paper filter, which they claim is HEPA grade. I really wish this thing also had an ability to take a bag, but I don't really see any convenient way to make that happen. So I ordered a slightly different adapter, and I have an assortment of DeWalt batteries. And to answer the question, this is a 4 amp hour and this is a 3 amp hour. They're about the same size. So what I will do is have to kind of push it to get it to snap all the way on, and put it in. And she works. Now I also have a 6 amp hour battery, and you can see it's quite a bit larger, and it's actually difficult to get this adapter onto this battery. This lip up here seems to sit a little bit too tall. This actually fits in the cavity, but I couldn't get it to work. And I think it's because this battery is just so much larger than that one that this piece is not sitting properly in the cradle that holds it in the vacuum itself. So I think a battery this size, 4 amp hour or so, is about the best you're going to do. And for comparison, here are the two adapters. And one curious thing is they actually hold the DeWalt battery backwards from each other. This is the first one that I looked at. This one doesn't quite work. I think what's happening is the front of the battery, the DeWalt battery, is bottoming out in the well that's inside the vacuum, and hence you can't get a good electrical connection on the adapter where you need it. Where this one sits like so, and I don't know how well you can tell, but this one up here works. And here's a close-up of the unit. One less than ideal feature of this is with this adapter in it, the indicator for the battery is face down. Would have been slightly more convenient if it was turned around like it was on this adapter, but unfortunately this adapter didn't work. So the final other comment I'd like to make is this thing's fairly loud. It's about as loud as other similar vacuums, but it seems to have a high-pitched whine associated with it, which is not so pleasant, I guess, is the best way to put it. It's not dissimilar to other shop vacuums. When I had it on the video, I toned down the volume to not be so obnoxious. Well, I thank you for coming by. I haven't used this yet, but I look forward to doing so. The reviews on it are pretty good, so I think it's going to be okay, but if anything significant develops, I'll be sure to do a follow-up video on it.